All right. Well, now it's my pleasure to introduce our speakers from Hard Beauty. This will be one of two lived experience presentations, not only lived experience, but really additional supports and services for birthing people and families in their current recovery journey. So my pleasure to first start by introducing Raquel Garcia. She's a dynamic peer recovery evangelist. I love that. Social entrepreneur and subject matter expert with over 14 years in long-term recovery. As the founder of 5 grassroots organizations, owner of Hard Beauty, and executive director of the Hard Beauty Foundation, she's transformed lives by empowering underserved communities through equitable care. Raquel's pioneering programs like Mama Recovers, Dare to Doula, and Operation Care foster recovery and systemic change through partnerships with hospitals and community services. Megan White began her personal journey into recovery nearly 13 years ago. She's previously worked in residential treatment setting as the director of alumni programming and most recently accepted a role within Hard Beauty as the director of Operation Care. She's passionate about creating more accessible pathways to recovery for marginalized communities, believing recovery is a right for all. Thank you.
At the end of my first week in rehab, I wanted to leave. I had just spent 72 hours detoxing in the sweat shack, wearing a faded yellow sweatsuit and grandma panties from my mama. Homesick. I called my house, hoping for some support, but my husband was furious with me. Raquel, you've abandoned me and the kids. You're being selfish, like always. He drank too, and he used too, but it didn't matter. He was out there and I was in here. As I started to pack, I was terrified because I thought that he was going to take my babies away. And as I started to pack, a woman from group stopped me and said, "Don't go." She simply said, "Everything you think will happen or might happen will happen if you don't stay here and take care of this thing. It will only get worse." It did for me. She was right. For years, I tried to quit alcohol and pills. I even moved to a new town, but the drinking and pills had followed me. My life was spiraling, and when my best friend Shauna died of an overdose from the Opana I gave her, my world shattered. I ended up in a psych facility, but I wasn't done. I picked up again the day of her funeral. My life was a fog of booze and pills. I have no memories of Thanksgiving or Christmas that year with my family. On January 18th in 2010, I hit a breaking point. I had had too much to drink and was about to put my kids in the car and drive 60 miles home. Something in me snapped. Instead of driving them home, I drove them to my mama's. The next day, I went to rehab. That woman in rehab who told me to stay, she was right. It could get worse, much worse. My kids could have been next. So I stayed. I surrendered to the process. I did what I was told. I screamed in therapy. I cleaned kitchens, even being a stay-at-home mama, which I was not very happy about. I prayed to a power greater that I didn't understand. And when I left, they had suggested that I connect with someone else in my community. And so I did. Courtney was a recovering addict too, and she gave me the simplest but most powerful advice. When I left rehab that day, her and her sponsor met me at the local Village Inn on Garden of the Gods on I-25 in Colorado Springs. We ate pie and we drank coffee. They shared their stories with me, and Courtney began to give me a little bit of advice. She said, change your habits, even small ones, like which door you go through at the grocery store. Up until then, I'd always went through the right side of the grocery store. That way, when I exited, there was the liquor store to the left. And so what I did for the next 2 years was only go through the left door, and I never entered the right. And although that might seem very small for you, that was huge for me. I began to understand that what I said mattered, my actions mattered, and that maybe I should listen to someone else who has done this before me. I'm 14 years sober now, but today's world is different. It's harder. Liquor and pills are everywhere, at the grocery store and at the gas station and at the checkout line. We live in a world that markets wine to moms like it's self-care, with pills and booze more accessible than ever. We're here because we want to see moms get the support they need to recover from whatever life has thrown them. But moms face unique challenges. The leading cause of maternal death is overdose and suicide. Did you know that fewer than 11% of women with a substance use disorder actually get treatment? I wonder how many of that 11% were mamas. Here's why moms don't choose recovery. We're told that our recovery is too much, that we're selfish for taking time for ourselves. We fear losing our jobs, our homes, and most of all, our children. The fear of Child Protective Services hangs over us like a glooming cloud. To fix this, we need recovery-ready communities, places where moms can heal without judgment, where they can have access to affordable housing, childcare, education, and real support. Communities where hospitals are the safest place for moms struggling with substance use and not places of fear. I'm going to share a story with you. A mom, whom I will call Daisy, found herself pregnant and unhoused. Her first child was taken from her within 18 months. I will never forget sitting in the courtroom when the termination of rights were given to her. In an instant, Daisy's life changed, and so did mine. And since that day, I have worked harder than I ever have in my entire life to ensure that mamas have the opportunities to recover. Daisy found herself pregnant a second time. And this time, she was absolutely not going to the system that snatched her first baby. Planning to deliver her baby in a tent because she didn't trust the system. With time, and Britt, who's in the room, and myself and Priscilla, we got her to trust us. And then she trusted us, and that means she trusted Dr. Klee. And right before, she decided to go in and have her baby in the hospital. When she went into labor, she agreed to go, but only if her recovery coach, Brent, me, and Priscilla agreed to be there. And of course we did. I love that you're here today, Britt. We gave her a safe and beautiful birth experience. And I was honored that day to cut the cord. This is what Recovery Ready communities look like, supporting moms every step of the way. Today, I am the Chief Innovation Officer of Hard Beauty, and we're working tirelessly to create these recovery-ready communities all over. We believe in the power of recovering moms, and we are dedicated to removing every obstacle in their path. Together, we can build a world where moms like Daisy and me have the chance to recover and thrive. And because of my experiences, we've created quite a spectrum of recovery services that I'm actually going to let Megan tell you a little bit about. So part of that was to tell the story that kind of drove this new endeavor that we've created to talk about it. Daisy allowed me to share you with her face and her son because she doesn't want anyone to forget who she is. She's really passionate about that. And with Hard Beauty, we always say, even us, connection is the metric. And today, I actually just got to see Daisy on Tuesday. She stays with us despite the challenges she continues to face. We actually get to see her almost every single week.